first time since her surgery in January, being driven by her mother in Windsor. The photo of Kate, which was obtained by American outlet TMZ, is understood to have been taken by an unauthorised paparazzo, and we won't be showing it because of that. It comes as the future Queen's uncle has entered the celebrity Big Brother house.
I'm Gary Goldsmith, the uncle to the future Queen of our country, Carole Middleton, the current Princess of Wales. She is simply perfect. First time I met William, Catherine was cooking and William said, "Hi, do you want a cup of tea?" Very normal.
Joining me in the studio, TalkTV's royal editor, Sarah Hewson. So good to see you. Shall we start with the glimpse of Kate?
Yes, this was a photograph that was taken yesterday morning on the Windsor estate, showing Kate being driven in a car by her mother, Carole Middleton, taken just after 9 o'clock. So the assumption is they were on their way back from the school run. It was taken by a paparazzi photographer. It was unauthorised. Kensington Palace has asked for the princess's privacy to be maintained during this period of recuperation at home. So it's not being shown by any British broadcasters, hasn't been put in any British papers. It's a big shift from the days, you know, the Diana days when, you know, the highest bidders for whatever private photograph that could be obtained. But I think Kensington Palace will be pretty cross that this photo was obtained. You know, she will have wanted to be getting on with her business. On the positive side, it does give us some signs that her recovery is going well and that she's out and about.
Yes, and we've heard, haven't we, from the Ministry of Defence that she's likely to be seen, is it June the 8th or June the 10th?
Yes. Now, there was a lot of excitement and a big flurry of interest this morning when the MOD announced that the Princess of Wales was going to be attending Trooping the Colour, one of the Trooping the Colour events on the 8th of June, and would be, as Colonel of the Irish Guards, she'd be reviewing the parade. That is the first confirmed engagement that we've got for her. But it's not confirmed because Kensington Palace have clarified that it's only them that can confirm her engagements. This was the Ministry of Defence putting the tickets out there. There are 3 events around Trooping the Colour. They were advertising these tickets. And of course, the plan is for her to do it and for the King to do the King's birthday parade on the 15th of June, a week later. But none of those plans are confirmed yet. They're waiting until nearer the time before that. So I would expect we'd see her before then anyway.
Let's talk a little bit about Kate's, trying to think of a good adjective, rumbustious, I might say, rumbustious uncle, Gary
The rogue
Goldsmith.
uncle.
Yes, I mean, he arrived in the Big Brother house, I would say, I mean, I watched it, I would say in a sort of... a kind of tidal wave of good humour and overexcitement.
Yes. And goodwill.
He seems to want to be benign, doesn't he? He's not a horrible, snipey uncle that wants to say horrible things.
No, I mean, he described her as simply perfect.
Yes.
And he said he loves his family very much. Fern Britton was asking him, as he entered the Big Brother house yesterday, you know, what he was doing there. And he said, "I love my family very much." He certainly doesn't want to do anything to hurt them. But he does describe himself as the king of fun. He also admits that his mouth runs away with him sometimes and he likes to stir things up.
And he says he's very difficult to live with. That's why he's had 4 wives.
And although he may have the best of intentions going into the house, he's not going to say anything that's going to cause any trouble for them. That might all change as he is, you know, there with the cameras on him 24/7. He was asked as he entered the house whether Kate would be watching, and he said, well, if she is, it'll certainly be from behind a sofa. I think it's fair to say they won't be watching.
I mean, look, the fact is that he's only there because he's her uncle.
Yes.
He's a, you know, it's a
You could see some of the other celebrities taking a look at him and thinking, well, who are you? Who are you?
Exactly.
Well, I'm Kate's uncle.
I'm uncle.
Yes.
But, I mean, he's only bookable because of that.
And he is a great booking because of that, because, you know, he has watched her grow up. He is part of the family. Now, they may not be very close, but there's plenty that he could say if he's so minded. Now, you know, we're told he's been read the Riot Act by Carole, his big sister, Kate's mother, of course, and, you know, they will be desperately hoping that he doesn't bring any embarrassment on them. And the timing of this is pretty difficult.
Bit questionable. I do wonder about a kind of layer or several layers of snobbery that might be existing in various different arenas and areas, because obviously we know that Carole Middleton comes from pretty humble beginnings.
They grew up in a council
from a council
flat.
flat. Exactly. And she has somehow managed, I think it's incredible, amazing, one of probably the most amazing examples of social mobility in the entire country, to propel herself and her daughters from that kind of beginning to effectively, well, a queen, a future queen, and Pippa has married into the Matthews family, a family of immense wealth.
Yes,
you know, owning exquisite hotels all over the world, magnificent
but the Matthews
mansions.
family are a similar example to the Middletons, actually, in that they are self-made and they made a lot of money. And Carole Middleton was a very, very successful entrepreneur, setting up the party pieces business from her kitchen table when she had young children and realised that there was a gap in the market. And that was what enabled them to put their 3 children through private school. And of course, it is that has led to
But I suppose as you move up these sort of echelons of society, it's inevitable, isn't it, that the accent changes, the way you dress changes, the things you like change. You know, you become a different kind of person with more money, and also depending on the milieu that you mix in. And the Middletons do mix in a kind of country, rural, rustic, kind of upper middle class predominantly set, don't they?
Yes.
And then you've got Uncle Gary with his Essex accent and his kind of determination to be laddish and blokish and all the kinds of things that they will have tried to have left behind them a long, long time ago. So it's quite a kind of myriad of social questions to be asked.
And actually, it takes me back to the days when, you know, Prince William started going out with Kate Middleton, and there was so much snobbery in the media as well about doors to manual jokes, and then they went back about throughout her past, and you know, the family who were, you know, minors, and then Uncle Gary, of course, with his maison de bang bang and his very, you know, flash brash lifestyle. And I think we're going to be seeing more of that. The one thing in their favour is that he has nothing but affection for his family, for his sister Carole, for his niece Kate. And so whatever he says is not going to be critical of them. He is more likely to be critical of Harry and Meghan. He's
well, he already has, hasn't he?
He really has. He's already
threw the family under the bus.
Yeah, he feels very protective over his adored niece, as he describes her, and says, you know, she's absolutely perfect. She can't say anything. And he felt very strongly about them going on the attack about her. So, I mean, I think, look, I'm going to be watching very closely. I watched last night.
I watched, yes.
Because of Gary Goldsmith, because it's just very, very intriguing to learn a bit more. And even though he's not that close, he's the closest we've got to getting an insight, really.
But you just wonder what poor Carole's thinking.
Oh, I think head in hand thinking, Gary, really?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, we had this, didn't we, with Cherie Blair's sister. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
And John Major always had a brother of capable of generating great embarrassment.
Yes, everybody's got an Uncle
There's
Gary,
an uncle, a brother, or someone who can rise up and then generally rock the boat in a completely embarrassing manner. And in this case, it's Gary. In a way, it's amazing it's taken him this long.
Well, I mean, there have been several embarrassing incidents and certainly ones where, you know, it has been very difficult for them. 2009, caught up in that News of the World sting with drugs. 2017, when he was arrested and then pleaded guilty to assaulting, you know, his 4th wife. He talked in his interview that he's given ahead of going into this about having made mistakes, and I've got things wrong, and I want to show that I'm not a bad guy, and I want to show people who I really am.
But you kind of wonder, why do you want to show them anything? What's it got to do with anyone else? What you're like? Just lead your life.
He thinks it's
be private. Don't show anyone anything. It's not like people are walking around thinking about him day and night. Most people have never even heard of him.
Well, you know, he has one thing, which is his connections to the royal family, and I think he thinks it's going to be a good laugh and it's going to be fun, and people will see him as the king of fun. You know, they think about the mural on his Ibiza mansion. It's Gary's world, and you're just living it. But I mean, perhaps he should have taken your advice, Vanessa, before he went in.
Pipe down. Not that I've taken my own advice, of course, as a veteran.
No.
Twice inhabitant of the Big Brother house. I'm not one to dish it out.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Don't do as I do. There I am writing on the table in customary fashion. I've still got that dressing gown at home, by the way.